So recently I've been seeing a lot of these on Instagram. If you find yourself relating to those, then hopefully this video can help you out. Hey everybody, and welcome back to another video. So today we are doing the sequel to my first video. If you haven't watched How to Pass Your Driving Theory Test and you're going to be taking your theory test soon, I recommend that you watch that. But today is all about your actual driving. If you watched my previous video, you may have heard me say that I passed my test in around 2 to 3 months, and that was amazing. So I'm going to share with you my top tips on how you can do the same. Follow these tips, it will save you time and it will save you money. Let's get into it. So my tips are going to start from the very beginning. However, if your test is in 2 or 3 weeks, I recommend skipping to this part of the video where I will talk you through exam tips and techniques. So tip number 1 is all about money. Save money. Driving is expensive. It's something that you need to do concisely. You don't want to be paying for lessons, then you don't have enough for the test, or you don't have enough to continue the lessons. It's going to set you back so much if you have to take gaps between your learning. So really, save up. If I were you, I'd recommend just having £500, just so you know that you definitely will be able to carry on with your lessons and not have to take any breaks in between. Okay, so the next tip is all about your driving instructor. Your driving instructor plays such a huge part in your learning experience, and it's so important to get it right. Because of this, I don't recommend booking 5 block lessons or 10 block lessons. Don't pay in advance, especially initially. You want to get to know your driving instructor first. Take a taster lesson. The main thing is that you should be comfortable with your driving instructor. You don't want somebody who's going to be put pressure on you or make you feel uncomfortable. Obviously, the first meeting can be a bit awkward because you've never met them before, but you should know if you can have easy conversation with them, if they're quite relaxed, if you feel safe. That's the most important part. I'm not saying to go and try 5 different instructors because that's going to be expensive and it's going to take a lot of time, but just make sure that the instructor you're with makes you feel comfortable and is somebody that you think you can get along with. My instructor was honestly like my best friend for that period of time, and overall I was so much more comfortable and so much more confident in myself because he put that confidence in me. Okay, so the next tip is to take longer lessons. 30-minute lessons aren't good. By the time you get used to the car, it's time to go home. So I recommend taking lessons from an hour to an hour and a half. You learn a lot, it's a good comfortable amount, and these will be most effective for you. So moving on to the next tip, it is so important that you ask your instructor about your progress.
You've shown the most spectacular improvement of any student I've ever seen. What's your secret?
Nobody's here to watch, so if you need to be a bit of a teacher's pet, just do it. It's just you and your instructor. With me, literally after every single lesson, I would ask my instructor, how am I doing? When do you think I can go onto main roads? How long until you think I can book my test? So even if you feel a little bit annoying, don't worry about it. You're paying for it. You're entitled to know how much you're progressing. So definitely ask your instructor that, maybe after every lesson or every other couple of lessons, so you both know what you're working towards and you can get a good idea of a time scale. Okay, so the next tip is insurance. Get learner's insurance. Now you do have to be a little bit careful about this one. Firstly, stay within the law, make sure you're insured, and also make sure the person you're going with is legally allowed to take you out. Also, I suggest getting insurance maybe a month or maybe even like 3 weeks before your test. Make sure you go on your test route, don't go and venture to other places. You don't want to be driving on new roads or roads with different speed limits, just stick to what you know. Maybe practice parking. It's very important to do this towards the end because you know what your driving instructor expects of you. The person with you should just be there to supervise you. They shouldn't be teaching you anything because that's for your instructor to do, and then you just put that into practice. Otherwise you could risk picking up bad habits which you definitely don't want. I made the mistake of getting learner's insurance and going on completely different roads. I went on country lanes, the speed limit was 50, I had my dad shouting at me and it made me so nervous. It was the worst thing I could have done. My instructor even said, Maida, what is going on? You were so confident before, now you're just shaken. And I just had a really bad experience driving with my dad. But if you do it right, it can be amazing. Just definitely get your driving instructor's opinion on it first. So now on to exam techniques and tips. This part is so exciting. You're finally ready to get on the road to get your license. You're this far away. Just relax, take it easy, get a good night's sleep like I said in my theory test video, and you will be fine. Your driving instructor would not have put you through for a test if you didn't believe that you were ready for it.
I can't wait to pass my next student.
Okay, so to begin with, we have first impressions. First impressions are important wherever you go, whatever you do in life, they count. So to have good first impressions with your examiner, it's going to do you the world of good. And this brings us on to our second tip, which is to make conversation. Make conversation with your examiner. You're going to be in the car for what, 30 minutes? You don't want it to be pin drop silence. If you talk to the examiner, it's going to make both of you more comfortable, and actually it might even distract them a little bit. You might find that you and your examiner have more in common than you think. I certainly did with mine, and it just made the whole experience so much better. Okay, so next is a little trick that my instructor told me, and it was to put down your window. Putting down your window shows that you're quite comfortable when you're driving. You can take a hand off the steering wheel, put it down, and that will reflect positively to your examiner. So do that. I mean, if it's raining, you might not want to, but if you can, literally for a second, oh, do you mind if I put my window down? Put it down. Actually, it's a bit chilly. Put it back up if you feel chilly. You know, it's okay to do that. The window's the best one to do. You don't really want to be messing with the radio. I mean, maybe you could put your sun visor down and put it back up again, but just little things like that, it will really show your confidence, and your examiner will be able to see this. Okay, so the next tip is to exaggerate looking into your mirrors. When I was driving, I just used to be able to look. No, they don't want that. They want to see you moving your head and looking all around. They want to see that. Do it as and when you can. Obviously, if you're driving on the road, you don't want to just be like staring out the window because you might lose focus of where you're going, but especially when you're parking, you want to be like an owl. Observation is so important. Make sure he can see you looking, because a lot of people fail on this, and it's such a simple thing that anybody can do. Okay, and for my last tip, it is to make the most of your test. If something goes wrong, if you stall the car, if you think you failed, keep on going and give it your all. Don't think about what's just happened. Focus on what's happening now. You spent so much money to pay for this test. Don't let it go to waste because of one mistake. If you go into hysterics, it's just going to completely ruin everything. I've heard of a lot of people that have broken down and cried, and just don't do it. Keep going, because now it's a mock test, and you have paid a lot of money for this mock test. Give it your all. Honestly, try so hard. It will just prepare you better for the next test you take. Also, just because you think you failed doesn't mean you have actually failed. For example, my parallel parking was so bad and I knew I'd failed. Luckily, that was towards the end of my test, so I didn't have a lot left and it didn't play on my mind too much because my test was done. But he told me I passed and I was like, oh my god, are you serious? I passed after that parallel parking. So that just proves it to you. If you think you failed, just carry on, keep going. You can't be 100% sure that you failed, and even if you are, make the most of it. Make the most of it. Get your money's worth. And there's always next time. So guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I'm going to do a really short outro because my throat is going. I haven't drank anything all day because I'm fasting. But yeah, I hope this was helpful, and good luck in your tests. You will smash it. No, don't smash it, because then that will be a write-off. You will do amazing at your test, guys. Thank you again, and I will see you in another video. You have paid a lot of money for this mock test, so keep going. I sound like Boris Johnson. Keep going. So for Britain. Save our NHS. Save lives. Stay home. Sorry, Boris. I'm really passionate about this.